Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of Philly Sports International podcast, brought to you by Loch Lomond Whiskies and Passyunk Avenue. I am taking the helm tonight with my good friends Richard and Dave, UK Phillies and UK Flyers, brand new UK Flyers. Richard, yes, I'm aware it's been 2 months since the last one, and we said we'd do them every month, but life sometimes gets in the way. Busy Phillies season, starting up brand new social media accounts for an entirely new Philadelphia sports team can sometimes get in the way. But we've made a conscious effort to come back tonight, and we're going to try and get more regular with these. But for the meantime, I'm just looking forward to getting into talking a bit of Phillies. For me personally, I'm on the Eagles podcast all the time, guys, and I guess I can set off with a reasonable bear of confidence there. I know what I'm talking about. And as you probably guys have experienced from the WhatsApp groups, I'm asking idiot questions all the time, but that's just me getting into it. So I'm looking forward to talking to Phillies tonight. But
That's good, Phil.
Dave,
We like that,
welcome.
Phil. We like that.
Yes.
We like more questions the better, mate. This is what it's all about. So I was saying in the group, any questions, as silly as they sound, because you know what? I think a lot of people sometimes the same, just don't want to feel silly asking those questions. But this
Brian
is
first.
these are the whole idea of the groups. Get it out there, and it also creates good discussion as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's the environment. The WhatsApp group has allowed me to feel like I can ask these questions without fear, because I know that we often like talking about stuff when people ask us questions. We like talking about the things we love, and that way I get to find out a little bit more, because it's the subtle bits about baseball that I'm just gradually going, I need to know what this is all about. Before I've just accepted that it's just a weird, quirky thing, that there's probably some tradition to, that there's a reason why things don't. But now I'm like, you know what, I have to know what is going on. So can't remember what the one I asked the other night was. I think it was the bullpen. Like, why can't the guy just continue? And there's so many intricacies about keeping people fresh, even though they're only in for like one inning.
Yep.
And it was fascinating to listen to you guys talk about that. But
I think it's one of the most complex sports in the world. It basically, at the end of the day, it's just a bat and ball and a guy pitching to a hitter to try and get some runners in. But there is just so much and so complexity to it. It is, and sometimes I'm watching the game and I'm like, huh, they can do that.
Yeah.
You learn something. You can learn something every game you watch. And the crazy thing is, something different happens in every game that you've never come across before.
Yeah. Well, before we get really deep into the Phillies, because I know I'm gonna have loads of more to talk about there. Just introduce Richard. Like I said, Richard has been on the UK Phillies podcast. He's been an Eagles member for some time now. He came out with us.
Did one Eagles podcast as well. I'm just
Oh,
getting
yeah,
around.
no, you did.
I did last year, yeah.
Yeah. Came on, helped me out in a pickle one time last season when I got abandoned by my other
Jack
pod
of all
mates.
trades.
Jack of all trades, definitely a master of more than
Master
one.
of none.
But so out of most of the people that have become Philly Sports International members and people that we know, and from the trip last year, the Flyers side of things for you was kind of there quite early on. I didn't quite realize how big a Flyers fan, although the jersey situation.
The Drysdale jersey was the giveaway, surely.
I got it on.
He's got it on. And the memories that brought kind of felt like you had a bit of a flow in. But I feel like you, Richard, obviously with the stuff I've seen with you in the Phillies side of things as well, is it just a case of you've always had these kind of passions and this interest, or are you just really good at kind of like finding something, getting into it really quickly, and seeming like you've been doing it for years?
Definitely the latter. Yeah, I think when I like get into something, it's kind of like, right, I'm in. Like, there's no point in doing it by half. There's no point being like, oh, I guess I'll watch, one Phillies game a month, or with the Flyers, it kind of ends up being that, because their start times are awful for watching. Certainly in the UK. But yeah, if I'm going to be into something, I may as well be into it.
Well, fantastically for us, it meant that we can bring in our fourth pillar and represent the Flyers, because that was one of the big bits of feedback as we rolled this thing out, was, what about the Flyers, man? What about the Flyers? And we were asking around the newsletters, see if there's anybody who could give us that expertise, and you've happily taken the mantle. Admittedly, like you said, you're only still relatively new, but already WhatsApp group messages, competitions, keeping the content going has been absolutely amazing, and it's certainly perfect. It's just what we wanted. How has it been for you since coming on board and getting it off the ground? Have you enjoyed it? Has it been labour of love? Has it sort of ignited a bit more of passion in you? Sort of made you sort of dig deeper yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely made me like pay even more of an interest. I think like it's a difficult time of the year to start because we're so far away from like the hockey season starting. Obviously, the Flyers, didn't get to the playoffs of their season and quite early. We've had the draft, and the draft's exciting, but it's the NHL draft is sort of more similar to the baseball draft than the NFL draft in that these guys we might not see them playing for a few years. Even Paul Tomato and like if you said in the NFL you're going to take your sixth pick, you might not see him at all next year. You'd be like, what's going on? But that's the case. So it's exciting, but it's and certainly with where the Flyers are, like compared to the Eagles and the Phillies, it's definitely a more long term project. Obviously, the Eagles coming off with like an amazing year. The Phillies are still doing well, although we love to have a bit of an argument about we should be scoring more runs, etc. Instead of the bullpen. Still, relative to where the Flyers are, certainly, I think if you said, "Oh, we're gonna just fall short every year," I think any Flyers fan would take that in a minute.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that about the draft. It's because we can get into the baseball draft if we have time later on, because that's a whole another kettle of fish. I'm well aware it's a can of beans I may not want to open right now. I didn't realize it was almost the same for the NHL. I kind of figured it would be a little bit more immediate, though. You're saying we might not see him for a year. That's not uncommon in the NFL. But you said,
No,
is it
but
more?
if you were taking like the sixth overall in the NFL, there's probably a good chance they would play.
Yeah,
Unless they're a
true.
quarterback. Sometimes you have a quarterback sit for a year, but
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
certainly outside of them,
bizarre
like
thing
to
with
get the
baseball
guys.
is,
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, and you got the baseball where you can draft a first round pick and may never even see him. And if you are going to see someone, you usually wait in 2, 3, possibly 4 years, if at all. The rare ones like Paul Skeens got drafted and was up within a year, but the draft in the baseball, like the NHL, is not as hyped as obviously the NFL.
What I was going to ask after the draft question for the NHL side of things was, so we picked Martone with sixth round
Yep.
pick. We then had a couple of
No,
later
the numbers
round
sixth overall, first round.
sixth over. Sorry, yeah. And then did we pick up anybody else of note in that draft that you kind of think? I mean, like you said, they might not see. So if the sixth pick or whatever is maybe not likely to see the field, then surely the 31st and 32nd and so on picks are even less likely.
Yeah, so I mean, we moved up. So we had 2 more first round picks that they traded to move up to pick 12 to get Jack Nesbitt, who's a center. We see it was a bit of a reach, but they clearly liked him. And like with the NFL draft, it's very easy to say, well, he would have been there then, but there was talk that he wasn't going to be there at the Flyers pick, and if the only way they can get him is to go up to 12, and they feel that that's their guy, that's what they've got to do. They kind of alluded to that they wanted to take a center at 6. But with Portomoto in there, it's kind of you can't, play that good. You can't let him go. That was just the best player available. So Nesbitt, they obviously liked him, but again, that'll be a couple of years away. And the other guys, they just drafted size. They drafted a lot of size. They drafted a lot of big guys, which I'm excited about. The Flyers love a fight. But again, they're going to be a few years away. But still, like Amico he's got quite a lot of hype around him, and Van Taggy. But definitely Portomoto's like the big get. It's just what he's going to do next year. There's talk of him maybe going to Penn State for a year. He'd link up with McKenna, who's probably going to be the first overall pick next year. So it'd be he'll be playing with some high level players. The Flyers have got a lot of depth at wing, so they don't need Martone to play straight away. But they said he's the closest to being ready, but they're not sure yet. I'd like to see him go to Penn State for a year.
Richard, I've got a question. So 2 questions in the draft. Sorry, Phil. One, was there a former Everton player in the draft that I was hearing about?
I can't. Try again.
Froze.
Yeah, I think Phil's froze.
Was there an Everton player that was in the draft, or a former Everton player or something that I saw?
I don't
O'Brien.
know.
Apparently someone said that this guy used to play for Everton back in like when he was younger, and then moved out to play hockey.
Oh, maybe not that I'm aware of, but you could be right.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
I mean, I didn't have a player currently called O'Brien.
I swear there was a guy in the draft, and everyone was making a big fuss. That was a former like Everton trainee academy player that ditched football for hockey and made the draft. And then also saw on social media that the first pick for the Flyers was fantastic. Everyone was hyped. And then after the second and third picks, everybody was totally underwhelmed, especially as they traded up. Were you underwhelmed at first? Was that your first initial reaction, as well as everybody else seemed to be?
Yeah, I think initially. I think the only Everton thing I can think, there's a guy who was drafted called Jake O'Brien, and Everton have a player called Jake O'Brien, so maybe someone was just having fun with that.
Ah, I'm such a sucker. That probably was it as well.
But yeah, I think, like I was saying, like I think at first, yeah, probably slightly underwhelmed, but it was clear that that was a guy that they rated highly, and there was a lot of talk about, well, he wasn't, this highly rated. Some guys had him as a top 15 player, and if the only team you can trade up to use is to go all the way up to 12, if that's your guy, I think that's what you've got to do. Ultimately, because it's very easy to say, well, you could have traded up to 15 or 16 or 17, but who's to say those teams wanted to trade that pick? We had a lot of draft picks to use. They went in with 3 first-round picks, loads of second-round picks. So they had the stuff to move up if they wanted to. So I don't hate it.
Good. If you don't hate it, I don't hate it.
So in terms of obviously where the Flyers have been, especially last season, the season before, how much does it move the needle for you in terms of are they on the way back up yet, or have they still got like another season, maybe 2?
They've still got a way to go. Yeah, still got a way to go. Certainly this year, like I wouldn't expect a massive improvement. I think the goaltending's still going to be an issue. They brought another guy in, but they said they're still going to swap around him and Erson. But Michkov's obviously it's going to be a big year for him. He was everything that people wanted him to be. The Tyson Forster's unfortunately got an injury. He was looking really good. But they got Bergeron from the Ducks, and that was seen as a steal to get him to play center. So I think we've got a lot of there's a lot of good, promising young talent. It's just this year's probably not going to be where they put it together. But going into next year, they've still got loads of money available for free agency as well. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. I still think it's going to be 2-3 years before we can see them compete. But it's they've got young players who look good.
What's the expectation for Drysdale next season?
I'd take another step. I think he improves a lot at the end of last year. Genuinely, outside of me just having his jersey, being a Drysdale fan, he did improve a lot. Zegras was just saying from the Ducks, that's like Drysdale's best mate. So people are excited to have them on the same team. I think it's promising. There's young talent there. Cam York's just signed a 5-year contract with $1.15 million a year, which is an absolute steal for a guy who's a defender who's at the end of the contract is going to be sort of entering his prime. But we've got him long term for cheap. So it's certainly promising. I just think this year, temper expectations this year. I think the goal is see Michkov continue to improve, see the other guys continue to improve. Maybe see more turn, but we'll see. He might get a few games.
Incremental gains then.
It's definitely a process. I mean, to be fair, the Flyers have been rebuilding for 50 odd years, pretty much. But...
So speaking of incremental gains for the Flyers themselves, incremental gains for you as taking over as the UK Flyers representative of Phillies Sports International, also running UK Flyers in its own entity. You've been busy giving away some stuff for the draft that just happened. Do you want to just tell everyone about what's been going on if they haven't heard so far?
Yeah, so we had a little draft competition. We had not 15 questions. Taryn, who are the top 3 picks going to be? Will the Flyers trade their picks, etc.? Funnily enough, who's going to draft Porter Martin? Because that was the big question mark. It was really good, but everyone wants centers. was the Flyers were. And there were some interesting answers. And we actually had a three. But yeah, first place got a Flyers hat and a little gritty plushie, a gritty koozie, and a gritty key ring, because who doesn't play? Second place just got a hat, and then third place got a little Flyers key ring.
Yeah, I think both Mick and I had a very similar plan, which was to go on. I think he said a website. I quickly looked on it and just used the draft predictor from
mock draft. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of I basically just gave all my answers, and I think both me and Nick came just outside the top 3. So,
I'm sure there was someone who had a goalkeeper going in one of the top 3 picks. I'm sure.
Oh, really?
So yeah, there was worse answers this year. I won't name names. I can't even remember, even though I wanted to.
Well, at least they were
shout
probably
out to
there.
Matt, who managed to get 1 point though. Yeah, Matt managed to get 1 point, which was the point for following the UK Flyers account on Instagram.
So, fantastic. Anything else, Dave, on the Flyers before we move on to your neck of the woods?
No, just saying. Flyers is watching the Flyers, one of the highlights of that trip from last year. I absolutely had a ball going Wells Fargo, and then the Flyers won, and
yeah.
it was a great time. I absolutely loved it. It's actually a great sport to watch in person, more than I thought it was going to be. It was I was trying to it was at times it got real loud, and I was thinking, wow, when the Flyers are. When they get hot, when the Flyers get hot, when the Flyers do make it back to the postseason, I can imagine that it's not Wells Fargo now, whatever it is, but that place is going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. I can imagine it. I reckon the buzz is, and you feel like Philly is on the, when the Flyers had the little hot streak last year, and there was a potential outside shot that they were going to do something. Everybody got all in, and it was. I feel like Philly,
and then they ruined their draft position in the process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I just feel like the city is ready for the Flyers to be relevant again and to be back contending for the postseason, and that place is going to be rocking when they get there again.
Yeah, from the last 2 trips out there, last year's particularly obviously with the Drysdale scenario, but we caught them again the previous year. It is just, I think there's something about ice hockey. I've seen a lower league ice hockey game in Jacksonville, even a few years before, but going in there, and I think it's just because of the way that the ice, I don't know, there's a chill in the air because of the ice, and the atmosphere gets quite high. It's just got a different kind of feel to it than any other kind of sporting event. And I think it's like you kind of feel sad a little bit that the Flyers aren't doing well, because you think that atmosphere deserves a successful team to be driving on, because Philly, as we will all testify, is one of the most passionate sports cities on the planet. And I think there's just that willingness. It's like people joke about the Flyers. No one cares about the Flyers at the moment, but as soon as they get hot, the city will be right behind that team again. And I think that's almost like, in a way, a testament to Philly sports as a whole.
Absolutely,
that's incredible.
Yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Yeah, and I think if they do it right, I think that's what makes people. Yeah, it's not this year, but I think as the Eagles have kind of shown, and maybe the Phillies are going to have their own sort of rebuild in the next few years to sort of clear themselves out, which I'm sure Dave will correct me on. But things don't happen. You want it to be done slowly. You don't want an overnight fix. You don't want to be signing the next guy and trying to push the envelope. You want to build it incrementally, like you said. So hopefully that's what happens with the Flyers, and you can look forward to being the guy who's coming on while we're all suffering because the teams are doing poorly and the Flyers are electric on their way to the next Stanley Cup. But
I'm just excited for the season to start again. We've still got a few months here, but let's get the season started. Get some more people into watching it, because it's a great sport, and it's. I think similar to baseball, there's intricacies and there's weird rules and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's get the puck in the net, and that's kind of it's on a base level, you can at least understand that.
Yeah. Well, let's move on then to Dave's neck of the woods, because I'm super keen to get his current thoughts. Get the little messages in the group and how he feels that the season's going, mostly about his fantasy teams, which I seem to know more about than anything else with the Phillies at the moment. But Dave, just like give us a bit of a high level overview, like how the Philly season has been going so far.
So, well, where do I start with this? Shouldn't really be complaining. We're top of the NL East, exactly where we sort of want to be position wise going into the All-Star break. Somehow we're top of the NL East because I don't feel we've played as well as we have the last 2 years. In fact, we haven't. The pitching's been incredible. The hitting, the offense has been at times dire. In fact, most of the time dire. The pitching's kept us in it. It's frustrating. You were saying about the Flyers and adding little intricacies in there. The Phils have to do that this deadline coming up. It's a massive deadline because this is our window. We are in win now mode. And I think that's where the frustration's coming from because that window we're on the other side of now and it's closing. This window is definitely closing. And in baseball, you only get a 1, 2, 3-year max window to really capitalize. The Royals did it so well when they won it. The Giants went through 3 times, one every other year. You have to capitalize on those windows. The Phils did it in 08, missed out in 09, had a glimpse in 11. It's so short, which is why I think the fan base is getting a little bit etchy, a little bit twitchy. Like, our window's closing. We're probably on the 3rd year. The World Series came out of nowhere. Granted, we've probably hit our window a bit too early. The last 2 years were prime window. Harper prime, Turner prime, JT prime, Wheeler prime, Nola prime. Everybody, we still had the youngsters, Stott and Bone were still relatively young. Now we're on the other side of that. These guys are declining. Next year could be a bit of a transition year. It's sort of all or nothing now, and I think because the offense again is showing so many signs of being so sluggish and slow and not being clutch, it's getting frustrating. We do need changes, and all of a sudden the bullpen started to sort itself out. Starting pitching is incredible. I still like an arm in the trade deadline, but we need bats. We need bats because I don't think we're going to do anything in postseason if we can't sort these bats out.
All right, so first novice question of the night. I'm I don't know anything about names. So every time I see a social media post with people that are linked with trades, obviously similar to the Eagles, you kind of do take it with a grain of salt most of the time. But is there it felt like the Phillies were big. They kind of got rid of more than they took in, but that's my novice opinion. And so if you're saying that they're in win now, I don't really feel like there's much buzz or much serious discussion, especially in the WhatsApp group. If you're judging that on a micro scale, are the Phillies actually looking at people seriously? Is there serious potential for people to come in?
So the way Phillies go about things is very, very tight and behind closed door that you can't speculate because that every single one of their deals, apart from Bryce Harper's a slight exception, but everything else comes out of nowhere. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, where's this come from? You don't hear an inkling. Obviously, Bryce and Machado at that time were big deals because they were going around all the teams and telling people who they were going to see. Other than that, and the Phils have tried. David Dahl didn't work out. Whit Merrifield didn't work out. Max Kepler is unfortunately not quite working out. But we need. They like to go low risk with these, low risk, high reward players. But now this trade deadline, we have to go high risk. We have to go for that big bullpen arm, especially with Alvarado, who can't pitch in the postseason. And we need a power hitter to back up Bryce because Harper just hasn't got it. And I don't think he's going to have it. He's not. I hate to say it, I think he's past his prime. And injuries have sadly scuppered his career now. Bohm is not a power hitter. He'll get people he'll get the runs in. He'll drive the runs, which is exactly what you need. But we need that backup behind Kyle Schwarber. Suarez and the D-backs has been named floating around. He's a third baseman. There's no room for him. I would love Suarez. Brilliant power hitter for the Diamondbacks. Very much like Schwarber. But where do you move Bohm? You can't move Harper to the outfield. No. Not going to work. Harper's one of the best first basemen in baseball. You can't move him out of that position. Bohm is brilliant at third base defensively. I don't care what anybody says. we need outfielders and power. I don't know. You can't second guess the Phils. That's the problem. I think that's why you don't know where to go. Every rumor you see on Twitter, on social media, is sort of poo-pooed straight away because you just don't know what the Phils are going to do. You know what you'd like them to do, but they never do what you want them to do. So it's just so hard to second guess their moves.
So basically, it's exactly how I read it. Is that it feels like there's a whole lot of nothing, but something could potentially come out of nowhere. But fingers crossed they do something. If they don't make the moves that maybe you'd like or the fan base expect, where does that leave the team going?
It leaves us in trouble because I think this team need an injection. Kemp came up. He gave him a great injection. That just shows what someone like Kemp can do. You know, Harper out, and we were struggling until Kemp came up. Kemp came up. We were on this incredible winning streak, but it's getting stale. We can't keep running it back. And if you can't inject new players, and show you're serious to the team you've got now, to the likes of Kyle, to JT, these guys who've got contract years coming, well, in their contract years, free agents next year, if they're looking at Dombrowski and thinking, how serious are we here? Why aren't we bringing these new players in? Are we really going for it like we keep saying we're going to? Because we can't keep running it back. It is getting stale. Bryson Stott's having a horrible year again with the bat, and I would play Souza over Stott every day. You got to mix it up. I think Topper's trying to do that. I think he's trying to. Topper doesn't know his best lineup. No doubt, he keeps chopping and changing. It's not good for the likes of Kepler. Kepler does have a point. You need to play consistently to get your eye in. Well, I think we're a bit of a loss lineup-wise, and with the bats, and it's really showing. I don't know. The answer is new bats. You need an injection. I think Crawford's going to come up early. I don't think he's ready, but I think again they need that injection. They need a spark, and to bring the spark out of everybody else as well. I think Painter will bring that if he comes up. It's now an if, not a when. I think at the moment. But you need to show ambition to these players who I think are just starting to get a bit stale with the idea of running it back.
The question is though, I would say for the Phils, like it's all very well saying, "Oh, we need to trade for someone," but who are we going to trade? Because every time you bring up trade discussion, it's always starts with a list of untradables. You can't trade Miller, you can't trade Painter, you can't trade Crawford.
You're right.
Like we're left with Mick Abel to trade, and what value does he have now after his last few outings?
Yeah. Abel's value's dropped. Like we're nothing like the return we would hope for him now.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's like you're sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because it's like you say, well, maybe the window's closing, but then do you sacrifice potentially the future? Because the only way you're going to get someone good is to give up someone like Crawford or a Miller or a Painter. Who else in the farm system are realistically going to ship who gets us a good player now? And who are you going to put? Who do you trade from the starting lineup? We tried to trade Bohm and Castellanos. Apparently, I don't think there's any point trading Bohm. I don't know how much value Castellanos have, and he's a right-handed batter, which we need. We can't just go all lefties.
And the only problem is we need quite a few. I feel. I don't know. It's tough because when you look around the league, it's not just us. Everyone seems to be struggling. There's nobody really. Even the Dodgers aren't that unbeatable at the moment. The Yankees are.
No, they lost by like 17 the other day.
They did. It's a league where when I take my Phillies goggles off and look around, the league is struggling, and the Cubs are up there. The Brewers are.
Yeah, we have a lot of the sort of chats in the WhatsApp, don't we? Where it's like we're terrible at this, and then someone goes to look us at the stats, and it's like, oh, actually, we're one of the top 10 in the league for being good at
runners in scoring position. Yeah, although we're 0 for 23 as we talk in our last on our recent run, but we were like 5th best. So
I think it's easy to forget that it's a difficult sport. Like
there's so many games, isn't there? There's so many games. There's so many stats that it's easy.
It's like the absolute best guys in the world hit it 3 out of 10 times. Like it's.
Yeah. And it's twofold because at the same time the league is kind of wide open right now. How long will the Tigers last at top in the American side? the American Central's a bit of a mess. Well, apart from Tigers, a bit of a mess. The NL Central, the Cubs are hot right now. Teams are streaking all over the league. Like the Cubs are streaking. The Blue Jays, they've come from nowhere, absolutely nowhere. They now top the East in the AL. It's a really weird year. Everyone expects the Dodgers and the Yankees to be absolute powerhouses, and they've not really shown something. Which is why if we can get these moves right at trade deadline and bring in a big arm and really show we're serious, I don't think we're going to get a better opportunity at the moment, especially with our pitching being in absolute incredible condition right now.
All right, then let's move on slightly to the other point about the Phillies, which is the big discussion this week, which is the All-Star break coming up, and there's been quite a bit of difference of opinion because obviously we want our players to get recognition that they deserve, but also we're not upset when they're not getting extra games, extra meaningless quotes games to potentially get injured or whatever happened to them. What's the general consensus around the team, particularly with the players that did get selected, but obviously Suarez and Turner that didn't get picked up? What's the general feeling at the moment with the All-Star snubs?
I think it varies from everybody. Everyone's got their own different opinions on the All-Star. To me, I can't get into the All-Star game. I prefer the home run derby. It's good fun. But I think
what's the difference between the home run derby and the All-Star? Is it just another aspect of the All-Star?
Yeah, so the home run derby will be the night before the All-Star game, and it's basically a glorified, like you do in the batting cages. You've got a certain time limit.
Is it a bit like the par 3 at the Masters?
Yeah. So you got the best power hitters.
Easy balls to hit.
Yeah, it's like floaters. They get floaters every time, and it's just how many can you hit out the park in that time limit. It's fun. It is actually quite fun, and you get the best power hitters in the game if they want to do it. Although Bowman was there last year. In fact, Bowman got to the final last year. But it's good fun. You get to see the players come out their shell a little bit as well, and having fun, and it's a good atmosphere. The All-Star, the All-Star game, it's just a novelty. You know, it's the circus that surrounds it as well. I think after last year, we had so many players involved. I don't know. It coincident this season, although the schedule got harder, yes, but the All-Star break wasn't really a break for our team. We had so many players involved. This year, we've got just the two. Ranger can have a well-earned rest. You know, he hasn't got. The good thing is these players are now at the media hype as well. They're on a complete break for a week, and I think it's what they need. It's a reset. Turner isn't going to feature. Sorry, Turner doesn't even feature. He's not even picked. Who's in it? Kyle's not going to feature that much. He's not going to play. He'll get an at bat. Wheeler may start. Good for him. Good for him on his CV, but. I'm glad these players are getting a rest. What annoys me is the like Ranger Suarez hasn't even been recognised anyway. The season he's having is unbelievable right now. He's not even on the snubbed team. He's been snubbed from the snub team. Like, come on, his name's not even been mentioned. Trey being snubbed yet. Yeah, and Trey not even making it to team is bizarre. The fan voting is odd. I don't like it. But here we are. Trey gets a break. The team gets a break. We've got two players involved. That suits me fine. I don't think the players themselves, I don't think they particularly care. I think they're quite happy for the break. I know Ranger struggled in the outing before last. Picked up a little niggle. That's why he was on the pitch limit last game. He now gets a proper rest. I think the players, they'll be happy for a reset. To finish on the West Coast is brutal. To have the Giants and Padres. It's not a good finish to the season for the first half for us. That's a cruel schedule for us, but I think they'll be happy to finish and get on a reset.
Yeah, that actually one last novice question. I promise I'll keep the rest to a private WhatsApp chat. But that's one thing that I've been thinking about this season, particularly watching it and really following the games, because this is the first season I've pretty much been watching every highlight, every early game I can possibly do. Even if I'm up in the middle of the night, I might stick on the game if I know it's on.
Love it.
Because the games are so condensed, like you barely get a day's rest, even between series. Like you're like, what was it? we're playing earlier in the week, and then they're straight on a plane to San Diego, playing the Giants the next night, and it's barely 24 hours rest. How easy is it for players to keep themselves fresh is part one, and also how difficult is it to make these adjustments? So we're talking about the break, like you said, it's nice to have the players, and they've basically got like a week break. How easy is it to sort of from game to game? Do they like literally go to bed, get up, do a bit of training, have some lunch, then play a game, go to bed, get up? Like it feels like it's like so like no personal time, no refreshing time.
It is no coincidence that the Phil's usually open a road series with a defeat, especially on the West Coast, and it's the same for the West Coast teams coming the other way because it's what, a 6-7 hour flight. The time difference is massive. LA, the Dodgers hate coming, and the San Diego Padres never do well on the East Coast, especially when it comes to Citizens Bank, because it's tough. It's tough. You play a game, you get on a plane, you go across the other side of the country, a different time zone. For both teams, both sides of the country going both ways, they both struggle. You're right, and that's, again, they looked tired yesterday. The at-bats were terrible. Okay, the umpiring last night was also diabolical. I don't know what their excuse is, but the effect is real, and sometimes we don't think about that, especially when we get frustrating games like last night. But you're right, it'll take 2-3 days. They're the same as us when we travel wherever we go around the world. We get tired, jet lagged. They're exactly the same, and yet they've got media duties to do. They've got to try and go into a daily schedule. It's tough. It takes its toll, especially as the season goes on as well. We're halfway through a season. They've already played 90 odd games. It takes its toll. Last night, again, you can always put money on it that any game that the Phil's open the road, especially if they've had to travel to the West or to the Central, that they'll lose 9 times out of 10 because we don't seem to travel that well. But on the flip side, like I said, when the Dodgers come to town, and the who recently came, I think the Padres have been recently as well. They look jaded. They don't look like the team that you see on paper of, they're like 10 games above 500. They look pony when they come to Citizens Bank because it's the same thing. They're tired, and it does affect them.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess it feels like the season goes on forever, but at least I suppose it is condensed down to what, 5-6 months, like most of the other sports postseason here or there. But it feels very much like a concentrated sprint for such a long period of time that it doesn't feel workable. Has it always been that way, or is it a bit like the NFL where they're kind of gradually trying to eke out more games out of the players, less time, more buys? They're just trying to push the players to the absolute limits. Has it been like that for a really long time, or is it kind of like a recent thing?
It has, yeah.
Trying to get more out.
And it was interesting because on the COVID year, when we had the 60-game sprint, it threw up just craziness. Like the Marlins made the postseason, and it was fun. 60-game sprint was fun. I do feel the baseball season's slightly too long. And I think that's the general consensus across the league, especially with the players, which when we get to the bargaining agreement in a year's time, we won't dive into that because there's so much to it. But I think they are looking at trying to cut the season down. What I do like is that they, from last season, brought in that you've got to play everybody, which is nice. You get that nice variety. Okay, the divisional games have been cut down. I would like to play the Mets more and the Braves more. But you get to travel to different places. You get to see every team basically and different players. And I do like that element of it. It's nice. It keeps it a little bit fresh. The season is long. It is a long, long slog. And I think their next move could be to shorten the season. As I've heard rumblings of. And you could see the season slightly reduced going forward.
Yeah, cool. Well, I appreciate you taking all my questions.
1962 is when they moved to 162 game season.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a long time. It's not a new thing.
They've made such an effort to shorten the games, which has worked. They've actually got something right. I think the pitch clock has worked brilliant. The games are now done within 2 to 2.5 hours on average, compared to the 3-4 hour games used to get, which the fairy tale of the novelty of was fun at the time. But I like these games done and dusted. The runner on second into extras, I quite like. I think they should bring it after 12 innings maybe and just play 10, 11 as normal and then wrap it up. Put the run on second base and go. But the rules to shorten the game and make it more exciting, I think, have definitely worked. And I think now they're going to look at the schedule and maybe, from what I've heard, that they're going to look at tweaking it slightly and possibly making it a bit shorter now.
Awesome. Well, I think we've taken a fair bit of time on the Phillies. I did have what your win target is, Dave. Do you have sort of like where they are now to where you expect them to get in terms of how many games they're going to win, and are they going to win? Are they going to win the division?
Got to win the division. I think we have to win the division. I don't want to go through the wild card. I don't care what people say about momentum. The last two World Series winners didn't need the wild card. It's a mental thing. Need to win the division because I also think that the West, I think the wild card places could be toughly contested, and if we don't win the division, it's a bit of a lottery because the West is strong. The Central's a lot stronger than what people thought. The Cubs, the Cardinals are coming from nowhere. The Reds aren't shabby. They'll be there or thereabouts. The Brewers, it's going to be very competitive this year. Win the division, I think it's going to be actually a bigger advantage than previous years. I think we're still on for 94, 95 wins. I think the Mets will tail off. That rotation just cannot sustain, and they're starting to already now. The Braves are dead. So the division is ours for the taking. We should not win the division unless something goes drastically wrong. I'm still all in. I still think we have to try and go all the way. We are contenders. That pitching, that rotation cannot be wasted. We have to build that run rotation. Yeah. I still think they can do it when the offense does click like we've seen it have. We are one of not the best team in baseball, but we need a bullpen arm and we need some power bats. I'm still optimistic. It's a long season, like we said. When it comes to crunch, we have to learn off the last 2 years, and then I'd like to think they will. I'd like to think they're saving themselves. The last year we went like a bull in a china shop, started hot, faded away. I'd like to think they're putting it right and putting it in reverse this season, and then get hot when it matters. Everyone says get hot when it matters. I think sometimes we can be a bit impatient with that, with the games like we've seen recently where the offense is sluggish. Are they saving themselves? I'd like to think so. We'll find out in September.
Yeah, right. The pitching always gives them a chance, doesn't it? The bats don't need to get that hot if they only need to score 3 runs to win a game. So I think they'll be. And this is
it. This is it. We're still the 10, 11 games over 500. We're still top of the division, and the bats haven't even got going yet.
Yeah, we don't even need them to score 7, 8 runs a game. We just need like 4.
This is it, and as frustrating as it gets, and it does, and I wouldn't put it on social media because you'd be shut down instantly, but we're doing all right about the bats getting hot. Like I said, when it comes September, we'll find out whether they have just been saving themselves and now they will come out and get hot, or whether that was the real Phillies the whole year. But until then, just keep ticking over, keep winning the game, stay top of the division. The Phillies are doing everything sort of right where they need to be right now. August, September's crunch time, which we're getting pretty near now.
Great. I was going to quick fire from both of you before we move on. Then bats up, bats down. Best bit so far of the season, worst bit so far of the season. Rich, I'll let you go first on this one.
Best bit personally was like going to the first game against the Mets. Seeing the double slide. For that, there's not really have we had a walk-off win other than there was the wild pitch that Bryson Stott scored. I don't think we've had a walk-off win.
I think what I can think of off the top of my head.
I started thinking, was there a really exciting one? Probably the Alvarado when the kid was in the stand. When he got out of that jam, that was probably the most sort of exciting moment. Although he's obviously now suspended. But yeah, that's what I got for.
The double slide will be a core memory for forever.
Yeah, the double slide.
Thank you, Richard. The trading card came through of that double slide today, which is proudly in my little Phillies collection. Last night, right before Wheeler, that pitching performance from Zach Wheeler was just outstanding, and the atmosphere on TV was a real. As the game ramped up, was a real playoff atmosphere. The fans chanting Wheeler and all these Zach Wheeler chants coming out. That was a taste of October. And that really seems to get the players going as well. The annoying thing is, of course, we then lose the next game, and it's sort of
every bit of momentum
gets
just gets wiped out. Yeah.
Yeah. But Wheeler for me, low point Alvarado's suspension is just a killer, and the Harper injuries are a killer. Kepler not quite working out is a bit of a low as well. I'm not quite giving up on Kepler. I think if he can get a run of games, we'll see what happens. I think he's got it in him compared to where Whit Merrifield and David Dowell and the likes. I didn't think they ever had it. I think Kepler's shown enough to show that maybe give him a run of games, he has got it. Bryson Stott's been a massive low point this season. I am so disappointed with him. Defensively, Gold Glove, but if you can't do it with the bat for the last 2 years now, it's it's a concern.
How long does it go on for before something?
Just thank God for Trey Turner. He's been the only consistent, offensively, he's been the only consistent player. Kyle. He just doesn't have the power. Yeah, Kyle's has his big cold streaks.
And even which you expect from Kyle, but thankfully when he's hot, he is hot. Bone since May has been fantastic. Yes, he's still throwing his tempers. Yes, he's having cold streaks, but they're very short, sharp little cold streaks from Boma. He's still clutch. He's still one of those clutch players in the team right now. I won't have the Bone slander. And his temper tantrums. You know what? They're annoying, but I like it because it's a human element and aspect of it, which I appreciate. Like he's like me. Like that's how I used to play. You know, I used to get pissed off at a bad straight, and that was just double A over here in Britain. You know, I play with a lot of emotion, and I feel like I can relate to it more. I kind of like it. He shouldn't do it. It's annoying. It's childish, but it's that human element side of things, which, you know, it's all or nothing about it. You get to see that raw, you know, I think some of the players like robots, and I don't like it. I like that real human side of it.
Right. That's it. That is definitely the last in the Phillies. I can't help myself.
Sorry.
No. From my own personal perspective, I need to come on your podcast, Dave, and so I can freely.
I need to fire it up again. I need to get my laptop fixed.
Yeah, you do. Well, last but not least, obviously, we're not going to cover the Sixers tonight just because Ben unfortunately couldn't make it. So we'll move on to the Eagles. A couple of Philly sports parish notices, and then we'll close out. Hopefully, not too much longer. But yes, like I said, last but no means least, we're going to cover the Eagles quickly. But it has been a very quiet off season. I know this is the quiet part of the off season. This is everything's almost like a ghost town at the moment. But to me, and I don't know about you, Richard. It feels quieter than normal. It feels like there's even less going on. And I'm trying to put my finger on it, and I feel like that's partly because of the Super Bowl win. Like, you don't fix what isn't broken.
Yeah,
there's not as much.
What do we need to do? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Who do we need to get? How he's got all the business out the way quite early. All the people got who left went early. All the people that we brought in have kind of like for the draft picks, and that we kind of how we sorted it out quite nice and early. Got the nucleus sorted. Now we're in a position where we can maybe add a couple of people, but we don't have to. So there's not been that kind of we need to sign a wide receiver by X date because we need him for training camp. It's almost like we're quite happily where we are going into where we're going. But you're saying you agree, Richard, that's it does feel quiet, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've done what we need to do. I think some guys have gone. They brought in other guys. I think it's too early to be. We might pick up some veterans close to the time where they feel like they need space. But, let's see how the guys do in training camp first. I don't think we need to rush to spending any money that we don't have to. It's hard to look at that Eagles team and think, where's the weakness? Like, there isn't.
Yeah, training camps, as you said, is about to begin on July 22nd. We've got 3 pre-season games slated for August before opening up the NFL season, hanging the banner against the Cowboys. Thursday Night Football, which we're all looking forward to. I think is only 56 days away now, so I saw something posted, which feels closer.
I saw 9 Sundays, so yeah.
Yeah, something like that now, and it's like we go so long. It feels it's like an 8-month off season, especially after the Super Bowl, maybe slightly less because kept the party going as long as possible. And it feels like such a long time, and that's where the Phillies baseball
it's almost the
has been
exact opposite of the baseball season.
yeah, it's been a huge help because it's sort of takes your mind off it, but then you really get into it. But yeah, the Eagles season is going to be coming back around quite soon. We've got 3 preseason games and a joint practice with the Browns. So we're playing the Browns, the Bengals, and the Jets, as we always do. Play the Jets as the final preseason game, which we all say is meaningless, but when it's the first taste of Eagles football coming around, we all end up watching.
I don't watch preseason. I genuinely don't watch preseason.
Nothing at all. Not even to see
No.
like the fringe rookies, to see like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. last year, to see how he was going to fit into. Nothing at all. Really?
No.
Not even a
slightest. It's so boring.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the most exciting football ever, but you can take bits and pieces out of it. There's people that you can watch for. No,
I'm sorry, absolutely not.
Maybe it's just me. Then I get so starved of Eagles football that I'll watch anything. It's always the same with the football season starts.
I'll watch all the YouTube stuff they put out and whatever, but I ain't watching a preseason game.
I won't watch it live. I'll watch the condensed highlights, but I just want to satisfy that itch to get me through to September. So I'll watch a little bit of it, but and I particularly like the joint practices because I like it feels like a whole week build up to a game where the teams are kind of having their little battles in training. You're seeing the little one-on-one Hurts versus the Browns the defensive line. Sorry, although it's even less than the preseason game, it feels like an extension of the whole week's a game. Especially being the Browns, some interesting players that are there now. Kenny Pickett coming back to Super Bowl champion. Kenny Pickett coming back to visit the Eagles, which will be interesting. And like I said, getting us through to Thursday Night Football, where we're going to hang the banner and make the Cowboys watch us hang the second Super Bowl banner since their last Super Bowl win, going on nearly 30 years ago now. It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have seen the film Clockwork Orange, where he's having his eyes forced to remain open and watch whatever violent films that they're doing to try and get him to lose his mind. I feel like that's what we're going to be doing to the Cowboys. Like, watch this, watch it now. It's going to be an interesting open to the season because we dismiss the Cowboys and it feels like they've been very much like not a shadow of their former selves the last couple seasons with injuries and crazy decisions, but
and bad quarterbacks,
but through injuries. I mean, Dak is, for which the crap we give him, isn't a terrible quarterback. He's just never fit. And
he's an average quarterback. I give him that.
The team around him is there seems to be something not quite right. But with CeeDee Lamb, you can never count the Cowboys out, and now they've added George Pickens to the wide receiver core, so they have actually made an improvement there. Miles Sanders is on the Cowboys now.
They're going to suck again because it's what they do. I'm sorry, they're going to suck again.
I'm fully behind you, man. I'm trying to be a little bit more balanced and trying to give them a little bit of core.
Cowboys suck. The Giants are going to suck. The Commanders are going to suck. Jaden Daniels is so overrated.
It's going to be interesting to see how these things turn out because there has been a lot of hype around Jaden Daniels. There's been so much build up, and don't get me wrong,
there's a lot of hype around CJ Stroud. And look at his second year,
I think that's what a lot of people
the highlight Jaden Daniels' season was throwing a Hail Mary against the Chicago Bears, in which one of the Chicago players was too busy taunting the fans to actually make an effort on the play.
I'm with you, man.
I don't buy it.
I think there's a lot of raw emotion I can tell right now, Richard, that's just wanting to come out, and I feel like we need to get you back on the Eagles to truly exercise these emotions. But for now, you're right. I think generally we've got to be confident with the Eagles because of the Super Bowl champions and the offseason that they've had is very, very solid. They've not done anything risky. They've not tried to change too much. They've made sure they've retained the nucleus to build out from. They've not tried to go hunting the second ring just because, like they did maybe in 2018 after the first Super Bowl win, and how he's learned his lessons. So I think there's a lot of cautious optimism, and likewise, like you said, your confidence against the Cowboys and the Commanders is not unfounded. And there's a lot of hype around these teams that probably is just based on people not wanting the Eagles to do well and hoping for someone to come and knock us off because they just don't want us to be the next Chiefs or the next Patriots, which is a realistic possibility if Harry continues to sort of make the moves that he's done. But But yeah, Dave, any questions or opinions? Obviously, you were there at the Super Bowl party in Passyunk, so you got your first taste of
That
Eagles
Super Bowl
passion.
party was, I'd say, outside the Phillies in terms of any sport, one of the best nights. Like the euphoria of the pick six is maybe one of the best celebrations I've ever been involved in ever. Like that is a core memory that I ain't never gonna forget. Like, could it be top playing to win the World Cup maybe, and the Phil's winning a World Series? Just that complete emotion and let's say euphoria, and it was just one of the best nights, and it was incredible. And I think we were more lively than some of the bars in Philly. You know, we would have given a lot of them a run for their money. It was unbelievable. It was honestly goosebumps. Every time I watched a video back of the pick six from Passion, I get goosebumps. It was unreal and amazing to be part of as well, and to be there and to experience that was something I'll never forget, especially against the Chiefs as well. You know, and the best quarterback is so quote unquote in the game, and but I felt so confident that whole night. You know, that whole day, I just felt like the Eagles were gonna have it. I felt like a weird calmness, to be honest.
You're not alone there at all.
I was supremely confident the whole day.
It's easy to say after the fact. I get that. Like we can say, we knew along, but we did.
Oh no, I was. People were telling me to. Kay was telling me to shut up because of how confident I was. I kept saying all day, "We're going to win. We're going to win."
Well, I was talking to a couple of people. I wasn't maybe as overly confident as you, but I was just sort of listing out. I'm a very logical person. Like I can be confident if I feel like all the boxes are ticked to say like there is no reason why we're not going to win. And I did convince
we were the best team in the league, and we were
the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And also the 2 years ago Super Bowl, I feel like that was just the catalyst. Jalen Hurts was on a mission. You know, AJ Brown was on a mission. You got someone like Saquon Barkley who's realizing that just moving teams 1 year, he's going to get that chance to sort of put himself on the grandest stage where he's belonged, but being part of the Giants was never going to get there. It was an epic night, and I can't wait to get back there again. Shout out to Gaz and Passyunk and all the people who worked there. It was an epic night, partly because they went above and beyond. Obviously, they've increased Waterloo size to begin with, so there was extra real estate to be able to make use of. But obviously, going out into the tunnel, the big screen. I mean, I think was it yours? No, it was Nick's shoulders. I went out on at half time. Me and him sort of waded out into the flooded tunnel of people, just an absolute sea of people. Got on his shoulders, and even then, I couldn't quite capture just how many people were there. And I'm not very good at counting and estimating people. There must have been easily a sort of 1,000 or so. People.
And it was the noise in that tunnel, like the pick six noise, and every touchdown. It was deafening. It was absolutely deafening.
Yeah,
it's a great segue onto the next section as well.
Yeah. Talking about watch parties and events, we've got a few coming up at Passyunk. Thanks, Richard, for keeping us on track at the hour mark. We will get through these as quickly as I can, I promise. But I can't get to talk about the Super Bowl, and then it just goes off. So yeah, we've got. I've mentioned these on our podcast. I'm sure that Dave, you've mentioned these as well. But we've got our next watch along is a Phillies watch along on the 27th of July. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been to Passyunk with you on a couple of times when the Phillies have been on, but it's kind of been like a very casual fan. Now I'm into them, and I'm very much looking forward to getting everyone down, doing the batting cages.
Big series as well.
Big series versus the Yankees. On a Sunday we're going. So I think is it the final game on the Sunday? I believe.
Yep. UK. Series, so the UK friendly. Yep.
The game where we complete the sweep.
Yep. Yeah, we will.
Yep.
We're going to do. Go on.
That's the second half of the season now. Every series really matters. Every game really matters. It's ramping up to crunch time. So the Yankees is the big one. It'll be a good test where we are as well.
Yeah, and we're trying to make it more than just a game as well. By we've hired out the batting cages for an hour. We're going to do a little home run competition, so you can get the furthest home run. will win a Phillies jersey of their choosing that we'll purchase and get sent to them. And we're also doing Dave's usual home run sweeps, so predicting the home run scorer and the inning that it will be scored in, exclusively for people coming down to Passyunk. We will have a form for you to fill out, and then that will be eligible for some usual Phillies swag, which I think is like a bucket hat, a magnet, schedule magnet, T-shirts. Anything else I've forgotten there, Dave, with the prizes that
bucket hat. 2 choices. You got the magnet, the opening day T-shirt, schedule magnet.
Sunglasses. You got some sunglasses left?
I have got some London Series Sunnies still left. Yes, which is very apt right now.
So yeah, that's going to be the 27th of July. So hoping if you haven't got your ticket for that already, then make sure as a member to get on the website, get to the events, get your ticket secured, because it helps us to manage numbers and know who's coming, so we can tailor the evening appropriately. So if you haven't booked your ticket now, let us know. Get on there and do that. Do that soon as.
Yeah, they're free ticket. Just to clarify.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. They are free tickets. It is purely just a data driven thing for me, particularly to manage attendance, so we can get an idea of who's coming. We are then coming back to Waterloo a few months later, back in September, once the NFL season starts. We've picked our first NFL watch along of the year, and as we were just talking about, Eagles Kansas City in the Super Bowl. We're doing the Eagles Kansas City again, so it'll be the revenge. Well, not the revenge match, but it'll be the
hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. Yeah, the game
rub their faces in a match.
Yeah, to rub their faces in the dirt. But it's not just it's going to be a Kansas City Philadelphia double header. So we've managed to time it. We were sort of looking for a day that would coincide with the Phillies to do a joint watch long, and it just so turns out that the day that we picked is also a Kansas City Philly baseball
Royals,
day as well, with the Royals.
The Phils,
with the Royals coming in.
Another massive series.
And I'm looking forward to that. I think we've already got about 40 people signed up to that already. People are super excited at that because it's the first time, obviously, a joint watch party has been done, and the fact that the kickoffs work out perfectly. So with the Phillies coming in at 6 p.m. and then the Eagles Chiefs kicking off the mid-evening kickoff at 9:30, I believe that's going to be. We'll have some more competitions going on there. We might get the batting cages out again, but we might do some NFL giveaways as well. That's all to come, but make sure you get your tickets for that, because we have the Nick Foles bar, which has a capacity limit, and we are not too far away from that. So if you're thinking of coming, don't wait to get your tickets sorted for that ASAP. I think we might even be getting a DJ set involved in that, but that's TBC. We'll have a banging night that night, and hopefully both teams can bring home and knock Kansas City into oblivion once again on both fronts. Then we have got a couple more NFL watch parties, which we've planned for around the UK. We're trying to get to everybody because we appreciate that whilst Passyunk Avenue is an amazing place to watch Philly sports, not everyone can get there and make use of their discount. So we are trying to sort of be a bit more UK-wide, and we're coming to Cardiff on the 23rd of November for the Eagles-Cowboys return game in Texas. We've got the 11s bar in Cardiff booked out, and we're going to do a bit of bowling beforehand. But anybody who's in Wales and the southwest area who fancies getting themselves to Cardiff, who can't normally get to London, again, get on the events pages on the website, get your interest secured, get your place secured, so we know who's coming and we know how many prizes we need to collect and bring down, or I need to chuck in the back of the car as I drive over the bridge to Cardiff for that evening. Before a few days later, as it turns out, we've got the Glasgow return. So we went to Glasgow last year for the Ravens game, which was an absolutely epic night, put on by Mick and Tony, predominantly as the Glasgow-based contingent of the British and Irish Eagles, and it was an amazing night, obviously with a win. But we went to Committee Room 9, and we had the top floor booked out, some competitions there, another amazing night, and a chance for me to go and visit Glasgow, which I'd never done before. Really good night, and we'll be doing some more competitions there. I know that there might be some more. If the Phillies get to the postseason, Dave, you're probably going to be venturing down to Passyunk at least once or twice. Have you got anything in the works?
Red October will be but the problem is it's all very last minute with the Red October the postseason scheduling. But yes, there definitely will be. Last season we had a couple, unfortunately for the Mets loss. But there will be, NLDS and beyond. We will be Passyunk will have the late night licenses as well. Passyunk is awesome. during October. The atmosphere again is comparable to any bar in Philly. So when we get there in October, we'll be on it. We had one in Edinburgh last year at Belushi's as well. We will try and set up some places to watch around the country at the same time. All to be confirmed, of course. Depends what the Phils do, how the schedule works, what times they're going to be. It's all very last minute drop. But yeah, there definitely will be some plans in action.
I'm assuming it's a little bit too soon, Richard, to be organising Flyers Night Out. But,
yeah, the schedule's now out, yeah, but it should be out. It should be out, I think, this month. So the preseason schedule's out already, but obviously, like, no one wants to go to watch a preseason game. But yeah, the regular season schedule should be out at some point this month, and the Flyers usually get about 6 p.m. game a month. So it'd be cool if that fit in with like a Phillies game as well, or an Eagles 9 p.m. start maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, that's TBC. I don't know when not sure when the season starts. It might be too late for the Phillies. But certainly the Eagles, it'd be cool if they
well said.
Optimistic. Let's hope that ends up being a scheduling conflict that we have to deal with.
Regular season begins October 7th, so it might coincide with
October.
Imagine.
That'd be cool. Flyers opening day, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Definitely. If anything ties in, they'll certainly will be planning something to get people along and get people to keep your eyes and ears peeled on the newsletters and everything else. As soon as we have information, we'll try and push it out to everyone. So keep your eye on your junk inboxes and your WhatsApp groups and whatever else you're part of. Make sure you don't miss out on anything. So that's the event side of things. Sorry, Rich, you say?
No,
sorry, I thought. Sorry, I heard someone cut him. No worries. Yeah, last we'll quickly cover the competitions because we've touched on a few of them so far. The NHL one we've already covered, and that we're going to be giving away lots of prizes for watch-alongs. But we have some competitions going on at the moment. Dave recently had his Baseball Survivor Series, which was a huge hit in the WhatsApp groups, and the fantasy leagues are going on as normal. Do you want to give us a bit?
So congratulations, Josie, who won the MLB Survivor with Black Magic and Hoodoo and whatever other jinxes she was putting on. I don't know how she pulled it off, but there was some big upsets. There's a lot of fun. It was getting people watching games, especially in the WhatsApp group. That we were watching the Rockies versus the Brewers. We were watching the White Sox. It really caught the imagination of everybody involved, and it was a lot of fun to run. Actually, it was quite a bit of admin, but it was fun putting the spreadsheet together to the many agony of most people's eyes. But and the way it ended with Josie winning it, her game going longer. The Brewers are out. It was all on Josie's game. It went to extras. Somehow the Rockies came through. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful ending to the competition, and everybody was fully invested on the WhatsApp group as well. So it was, that was awesome. And obviously we've got the meet up Passion with the competitions, and then we'll run another one for August and September as well. So fantasy leagues are all very competitive. We're a super competitive league this year. I think one team is out of contention out of 20. There's still 19 teams that can make the playoffs. There will be the traditional trophy for the winner at the end, as we've done every year. But this year is I've never known a league like it. Free agency is still so competitive. There's trades going on. The orders flip-flopping all the time. And I say all 19 teams, bar one, are still in contention for the playoffs, which this stage of the season is so rare. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah, maybe I might start getting involved. I was umming around about this season. I'm probably definitely going to have to get my feet wet next season, so I'll be signing up for that. I will.
It's a great way to learn more players.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I say that to a lot of people trying to get into the NFL when they're sort of like, "Oh, I have no idea." It's like, do it, because it forces you to look at things that you won't normally. It forces you out of your comfort zone, and you become more interested. And speaking of which,
you could become very attached to your team and your players as well. It's really
I've become
strange.
A huge Addison Barger fan on the Jays. Like he's so good.
Speaking of fantasy leagues, obviously the fantasy football season is going to be coming up soon. As soon as the September rolls around, and I'm busy at the moment getting all the leagues set up. We have about a handful of people who are still to join their leagues at the moment, but 15 leagues over 3 different formats. I think I put out on the tweet today 150 different teams. Yes, I know some people will be running several teams in different formats, but essentially 150 teams over 15 leagues, 3 formats. Survivors League, which thankfully Sleeper operate completely for you. I know, Rich, you did it last season. I've taken it on for the official one this season. It's so good that
I didn't run it. I won it last year.
You won it?
Yeah, I didn't run it. I won it though. It was a very nice. The Survivor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No,
it was a very nice £240.
Oh yeah, because we did that and everything. Yeah. So this year we're doing one as part of the British and Irish Eagles. So we'll be giving away our a jersey, I think, for that Survivor competition, as well as the normal Pick'em one that I ran last year, which gave out weekly prizes, which was an unusual one because all you had to do was be good one week. Which Mike, I know you're good, mate. But, every week was your week. It's just in a competition where you could win just 1 week. You didn't have to be good all season. Mike still couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. But I'm sure this season is his season, or each week is going to be his week. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do it again this season. But yeah, like I said, all these leagues coming up, it's going to be crazy in August when we're drafted in 3 different formats. I've tried to space them out as best I can, but you're just going to see me even less or even more stressed out than normal, even less visible than I am normally, because I'm trying to chase people down to make their pick. So everyone who's playing, looking forward to seeing doing it. But please read all the messages and get into your leagues and familiarize yourself, because it makes it so much smoother on the day. But looking forward to them coming off. We did have, we'll quickly touch on the 6-6ers, where Ben ran a draft competition and a finals competition, which he managed to give away a jersey and a t-shirt for. So congratulations to those two, predicting the Oklahoma Thunder in 7 games, I think the winner did, plus a handful of other competition questions in the competition, as well as picking who they would draft. And VJ Edgecombe, no idea about the guy. I was hoping Ben was going to be on here tonight to give me a little bit of a rundown on him, but the overall consensus seems to be good on the player. So lots of competitions going on all around. There'll be many, many more. Every time we do a watch party, we'll try to do competitions. Every time there's a fantasy league, anything going on, any chance we can give back to the membership base with the membership fees is what it goes towards. We don't take any money from it. It all goes back into you guys. So make sure you keep familiar with everything that's going on and don't miss out on any competition. So we want you to get the full benefit of the memberships that you have signed up for. I will not touch on the trips this time around. Actually, no, I will, because I need to talk about the Birds Fly Home, and I do actually want to hear quickly about just an overview of your guys' trip.
You got time?
Yeah.
I've got to try and keep it brief somehow.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll leave it for you to do on your podcast. I'll just quickly touch on the Birds Fly Home trip, which we're still taking bookings for at the moment, for the Lions game in November. Lions game, usual stuff that we operate: stadium tours, pet rallies with legends, opportunities to catch the Sixers and Flyers, maybe even the Phillies. I know it won't be, it's a bit late for that this time around. We're missing this time, but with the Flyers and the Sixers in full flow, hopefully we'll be lucky again with the games lining up. So there'll be opportunities for that. Potential upgrades for game tickets or anything like that, VIP tailgates. But I've been the last 2 times fortunate enough. Richard, I know you came last season, and for everyone who came in 2023 for the first one, they are amazing trips. We try to make them as special as we can in every way, but the more people that sign up, the better the experience that we can make it. So if you haven't thought about it yet, birdsflyhome.com will get you to the website where you can secure your place with a deposit and get yourself on that plane to Philly in November. So quickly, guys, before we wrap up, brief overview, if you can, on the Phillies trip that you recently had. It looks incredible, man.
Well, it was probably my favorite trip I've had out there, out of many I've done. There will be a podcast dropping next week, which we've recorded about the trip with me, Richard, Matt, and Josie. It was incredible, beyond any expectations I even had of going into the trip. I knew it was going to be a great trip. The fact, for once, they're usually solo trips for me, but doing it with Richard, Matt, Josie, Morgan, Liam, and meeting so many people out there, it was incredible. The weather was baking hot. We had incredible experiences. I'm looking forward to the schedule coming out later this month and seeing what we can do for next year. I've got some ideas for next year after doing it. Pretty much the first time me sort of organising things at times, stressful, trying to sort things out. I know what I want to do for next year now and how I can do things next year to make it bigger and even better. I would love more people to join us as well. It was so much fun. Richard, I'll let him
Incredible.
testify. It was we were truly blessed. The Phils beat the Mets. We got the series win. We got 3 incredible views for the Phils game, set in different places. The Iron Pigs was a fantastic experience. The tour of the Citizens Bank Park with John Brazier, the batting practice was awesome. The bars, the food, the culture, the tailgating. Next year we'll definitely. I've been in contact with the people who we had a tailgate with. We're going to run a British themed tailgate next year, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've got ideas for that, and it's just a great time. It's very different to the Eagles trip, but baseball and NFL are 2 completely different comparatives in sport. But I felt it was a very authentic Phillies baseball experience, and can't wait to start playing next year's when the schedule comes out.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was not a short notice planned trip this time around, but it was very much like a casual affair. And I think this year, like you said, you've got grand plans for next year. I think it's going to be, tenfold again. It's going to be an incredible thought, and I think people are going to see what you did this year, what you got up to, the opportunities that they could have to sort of meet players, batting practice. The Iron Pigs looked even better. The awkward handshake still lives long in my memory.
Richard did me dirty.
It's fantastic. Those are the memories that make you look back and smile on.
It's great, and it's very flexible. You can go and come as you please. You can sort your own flights out, stay where you want if it's cheaper. It's just I can sort the tickets out, meet up points out, tailgates out, events out. Again, plenty of time to explore the city as well. You can come hang, you can make your own plans with other people. It's very open. And then we'll get together for the games and some events and some things that we have planned throughout the week. But it's an awesome time. The weather was hot. Next year's will not be during the World Cup because the FIFA World Club Championship at the same time threw some spanners in the works this year. So we may make it a bit earlier, possibly late May, pre-World Cup.
Early June.
Possibly early June, before the World Cup.
Doesn't coincide with my birthday at all.
No, not at all. Or Matt's birthday in late May, but yeah, no, just pure coincidence.
Pure coincidence.
Amazing. I mean, it's definitely. I've always said that I'd love to go out and catch a Phillies game in America, and before watching your trip and being sort of into the team briefly now, it puts more of a thing that maybe one day I will go outside of an Eagle season. I never thought I'd go to Philly outside of an Eagle season, but you're very much tempting me on this one. So, and with our resident accommodations now sorted with Liam in Newtown, Pennsylvania, it makes it.
There you go.
There you go. No, even less reason to not go. But I did say I'll try and keep this short tonight, but unfortunately I rolled over, partly because of technical issues, partly because we've got so much to talk about. And we love talking about our representative sports. Bringing on the Flyers as well. Imagine if we had the Sixers tonight, we'd still be going now. But thanks, Dave. Thanks, Richard, for sticking with the technical issues and joining me and talking about the sports and giving everyone out there hopefully a little bit more of an insight who aren't quite into the sports yet. But like I said, we'll be doing these hopefully at least once a month to sort of do rough recaps, high level recaps of all our sports to keep the casual people more interested and get some people more into the sports individually. So hopefully we'll be coming back to you in August, building up, seeing where the Phillies are going, seeing how the seasons are shaping up, and discussing more, and looking forward to the watch party in September, recapping the July watch party, which I'm looking forward to being an absolute right. So until then, I'll see you guys later on. Thanks for joining me, and thanks everyone for listening along. So I'd normally say "Go Birds" right now as my outro, but I feel like that's a bit niche. So how about Philly?
Ring the bell, go Phils.
Ring the bell, go Phils. What's the Flyers?
Let's go Flyers.
Let's go Flyers. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.